Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you today. Thank you for logging in this evening, this Friday evening. So my name is Jonah Nkandwanaho and I'm the MD at Jonaki Holdings Limited. And at Jonaki Holdings Limited, we trade in money, we lend money. So if you have any needs, anything that we can help you with, we support you so that you can actually thrive in your business. If you have a transaction to close, if you have a supply to catch up on, we support you with money so that you can actually execute your thing and then pay back with a manageable interest. And we exceptionally offer that service in a very short period of time. So you can always check us out on www.jonakiholdings.com. So I'm always glad to have you guys every Friday from 5:30 to 5:50. I reduce the time to 20 minutes so that we can have a brief hot one and engage. You can always check us these videos that I shoot on my YouTube channel, Jonah Nkandwanaho. Just type in that and kindly subscribe or like that channel. Also click on that bell so that when a video is posted, you can actually come to know that a video has been posted, so you can follow. So I've been doing 7 cures for a lean pass, and I've done up to part 4. Today is the 5th part. And these touch different areas. So today's part is basically concentrating on owning your home. You see, the key thing is one to chew a lean pass. Just like the word of the Lord says, you're not meant to be a tail, but a head. You're not meant to be poor, but rich. So all these things are helping us and helping our businesses so that we can fatten our passes. Because once we fatten up our passes, we can ably support communities. Once we fatten our passes, we can ably do great exploits. Not for ourselves alone, but also for the Lord. You can imagine if there's a project that is stalling, if there are those campuses that are stuck with tuition, if there are those students that are stuck at school with school fees, and you support them, and you're doing a good cause. Now let me ask you a question. Can you do such a thing if your pass is lean? You'll be on the other end where you need help. So if all of us need help, who will offer the help? Who will offer the help? So that's why I endeavor to actually speak to us so that we can start our passes to fattening. So that even if our passes are not fat yet, we can still get there. The key thing is that we have to keep going. The key thing is that we have to keep consistent. The key thing is that we have to keep pushing. So you don't have to relax, you have to keep pushing. So today's sharing is basically you owning your home. And this is how to relate to fatten your pass. Because you can imagine ever since you started renting, how much is it that you've spent on your rent? If you have records, you can confirm the figure to yourself. I may not be interacting with you, I may not know the figure you've spent, but what I'm certain of is that you've spent a huge amount of money on rent. So you can imagine if you're spending that money on something else, perhaps an investment venture, or perhaps if you're planning on spending that amount of money in a finite period of time, knowing that after this kind of time, I am meant to be in my own home. You can imagine the perspective is different. You see, the issue is not you owning your own house or your own home, but the issue is for how long are you going to be there? Some of you have been there renting for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Do you know why you've not owned your own home? Because you've not thought about it. It's not that you've not been earning. It's not that the money that you earn is little. It's just because you've not thought about it. And had you thought about it and laid a plan for it, you perhaps would have kicked it off by now. So how about you start thinking about it now and you start doing planning for it now? Because until then, you still keep in the same circle. You still keep in the same racket. You still keep in the rat race. Similar thing. It will not be a miracle that will just bombard you. If it comes, well and good, but to how many will it come? You see, planning to fail or failing to plan is planning to fail. So meaning that if you plan now, you actually will be better off. So I want to approach this in two perspectives. You're working in town and you're not even owning your house or your home, but even then, you're renting somewhere in Gayaza. Honestly speaking, you're staying somewhere or renting somewhere in Kasangat. Honestly speaking, you're working in town, you're staying in Kasangat, or you're staying in Gayaza, very, very far. Chuenda those ends. Perhaps you're driving. Have you asked yourself how much money you spend on fuel? Have you asked yourself how much money, how much time, or how much money in terms of time and traffic jam do you spend every morning? You wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, you're working in town, you reach home 10 p.m. in the evening. What is it that you're doing? You actually realize that at the end of the month, if you're capturing all the expenses that are covering, if you're capturing the amount of money that you're spending on fuel, with even the increase, even before the increase of fuel prices, you'd find that actually the amount of money that you're spending on transport alone is enough to earn your home or to help you rent close by town. Then you enjoy your family, you leave a little later, you reach work in time, you even leave a little bit later, but you still reach home early when you're not even exhausted. So there are several costs that we incur in even traffic alone, leave alone the money, leave alone the fuel, that are way too expensive just because you've not sat down to plan. Just because you've not sat down to plan. How will your purse start fattening when you're spending almost over 60% of your salary on fuel? When you're spending over 70% of your salary on fuel, back and forth, from town to your business, from town to your work, back to home. How about you look for a closer place to your office, closer place to your business, so that you can even work, or even walk to work. You see, that's where the Indians beat us. That's where our colleagues beat us. Why? Because the guy is having a business downstairs, he's sleeping upstairs. So all he needs is just to slope down the stairs. And there he is in his business. And there he is, he's working. Cost on transport, zero. He can even afford to have lunch at home. Now, based on the upbringing, it might be hard for us to actually stay upstairs or stay upstairs and walk downstairs. That might be tricky. But how close can you get to your work? You might think you're balancing up by the amount of money you're paying on rent. You're perhaps paying 500,000 on rent, and you're staying in Chuenda, Gayaza. But you're spending another 600,000 on transport. That's about 1.1. Yet you can get a house of 800,000 around Bukoto. And you're spending perhaps 200,000 with a lot of convenience, with a lot of opportunity to actually close when you're staying close to your business, you're close to your work. So you can imagine if someone wants to give you a deal and you're in Chuenda, and the deal that someone wants to give you is time bound, how long will it take you to reach down to close that deal? The convenience, the comfort, the closeness you'll be with your family, all those computed. Can you think about it now? Because until you start thinking in that line, it will be very hard to fatten your purse. You still struggle. Because it will be very hard to meet the needs of the community. Because as I shared in one of my shows, that you need to think, before you think beyond yourself, you have to first satisfy yourself. Food has to be sorted. The basic need of accommodation has to be sorted. Clothing has to be sorted. You cannot think about sponsoring someone's child. You cannot think about addressing a community need before your personal basic need is not addressed. You cannot start addressing a national issue if your personal issue is not addressed. So it's until we start addressing our personal basic needs, then you can start thinking about community needs. Then you can start thinking about national needs, national issues. So you cannot start contemplating on how you can address the issue at a national level when you're failing to address a personal need, a personal basic need at that. So start fattening your purse, address your personal need, then you can ably address a national cause. Then you can ably address a community cause. You see, the Lord did not create us to languish at the levels we are at. We are not meant to languish at the levels we are at. There are greater causes that we're meant to address. There are greater exploits that the Lord has put before us. But our hands are tied because we've not addressed the basic needs that we have at hand. Even when the Lord has given us the opportunities that we have at hand, how have we exploited them? How have we maximized them? Because now the issue is not the earning. Perhaps you have a job that you're earning from. Perhaps you have a salary that you're earning from. But the issue is, how are you harnessing the salary that you're earning? How are you harnessing the income that you're earning to start fattening your purse so that you can address the causes that the Lord has put before you, that the Lord has predestined for you? Because great are the causes that the Lord has predestined for you. Now, that's one of the angles I wanted to address this. The other angle is, when have you thought about owning your home? And in owning your home, what vision do you have for your home? There's owning your home, but still the expenses are as high as you not owning the home at all. You pick 300 million, you're buying a home in Ntinda, a condominium, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house. What are you going to do with that? And yet you can acquire land somewhere in Chira, somewhere in Blindo, and use even part of that money to build, and then you can actually have a bit of a garden to grow shrub for your family. The richest man in Babylon highlighted that you need to have a home and have space where you can grow some herbs, some food, some shrub for your family. Because one of the expenses, one of the high expenses that I've come to know, apart from rent, is food. Actually, nowadays, food can even surpass the rent. So meaning that even if I have my own home, if I am still buying food 100%, and I have a homestead of close 4 to 5 people, which is the average nationally, according to UBO statistics, I am spending as much more than even someone is spending on rent. So food is one of the leading items which people spend on, next to transport and accommodation. So meaning that you need to have a perspective, you need to have a blown out mind that whereas you're thinking of having the land or a plot of land where you want to put your home, you need to think of the land that will be able to support you to grow some shrubs, to grow some food on that land. Because then you'll be able to reduce on your expenses. Because one of the items that is very expensive is food. How are you addressing that? How are you addressing that? Now, you might be earning little. You might be telling me, Jonan, so I'm earning little money. I've not earned a lot. It is a gradual thing. The key thing is not the amount of money that you're saving. The key thing is the discipline you're building. Because even if I'm earning 1 million and I cannot save 20% of the 1 million, that means even if I start earning 10 million, it will be very hard for me. Why? Because the discipline has not been nurtured from the ground zero. Let me give you an example. When you started working, you thought if you start earning 600,000, you'll be sorted. That was my story, really. When I used to see my workmates, I'm like, you know what? These guys are earning 1 million, 1.5, 2 million. If I could earn this much, just like my colleagues, I think in the next 5 years, I'll be having a building in Kampala. I'll be having perhaps a facility somewhere, a complex. Lo and behold, I started with 600,000, then 1 million, but it was a moving target. Even when I earned more money, I still had to envy guys that were earning much more money than I was earning. I still thought if I earned more, perhaps I would be able to save and do a few things here and there. Until I had to implement the discipline, I had to start saving by force and then nurture that discipline. That's when I knew that, you know what, now I can think of investing. Why? Because I had some money remaining to invest. Why? Because I had some money remaining to put somewhere. Why? Because I started thinking about it. I started planning it. Like I said, If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So start at the level you're at. The issue is the discipline that you're building. The issue is the discipline that you're nurturing. The issue is the discipline that you're growing in yourself. So that by the time you start earning 5 million, by the time you start earning 10 million, you actually can manage that money to own your home, to build your house, to buy a plot of land. And it's until you have some money on your account that opportunities start coming on board. Have you ever seen it? If you do not have money, even opportunities rarely come. But even when they come, you cannot take them on. You cannot seize them. Why? Because you do not have anything to start with. It even feels good to bargain when you have some money you're putting on table. That's why the rich are growing more richer. Why? Because they have some income, they have some money, they have some money saved on their account. You see, when you're bargaining, when you have some cash with you, it is very different than when you're bargaining when you know you do not have any money on your account. It is a different thing altogether, and you can attest to that if it has happened to you. So meaning that if you've been saving however little to be, you're confident that even if you're bargaining, you have something to start with. Because we might bargain and reach a moment, I'm like, you know what? Put some cash down. What deposit are you making? That gives you an edge to bargain. So my question is, what is it that you're doing to discipline yourself to start fattening your purse? That granted, you might not have the money to buy your house or your home right now, but what steps are you doing right now to enable you reach the level you want? Stop daydreaming. You have to plan, you have to sit down, you have to strategize, then you can actually attain what it is that you're planning to achieve, irrespective of the amount of money that you're actually earning. Because that will help you. That will help you to even stretch yourself. It will start stretching you to say that I've been saving 10,000 or 50,000 a month. How can I earn more to save 100,000? How can I earn more to save 1,000,000 shillings? Then you start thinking of polishing up your skills. You start thinking of lobbying for better opportunities, for better job. You start thinking of how can I invest the amount of money that I'm saving in my bank to now invest it to have some return on investment. Then you start engaging at that level. But you see, you cannot start engaging at that level when you even not, you don't have anything on table. You don't have anything on your account that you've saved. So my push to you right now, or this evening, is start dreaming, but also dream with something to back up the dream. Have you heard of a colleague who has told you of his dreams, day in, day out, what he plans to construct, what he plans to do, year in, year out, 5 years down the road, he's still the same guy. Why? Because he has not drawn the plan on how he's going to deliver on that goal. He has not drawn down the plan on how he's going to deliver on that plan, on that strategy. You need to sit down and strategize. To stop verbalizing the thing, start acting on the thing. We want to see the results. We want to see what you've done about it. If you've told me, Jonan, I want to start saving. Today I've saved 10,000. Show me next month that you're going to step up to 30, to 50. That's when you're going to realize that you're making progressive growth. And it's only then that you're actually going to think about acquiring land. That's when you're going to start thinking about building your home. That's when you can actually even go and negotiate with the hardwares to deposit for material, for cement. You can imagine for those who had accounts with Seroma or with any other hardware world, anywhere any hardwares in the town. For them who deposited money prior, the prices that have increased might not affect them. Why? Because when you open your account earlier and save with these guys, you're not affected by the trends of price increment. And that's a plus that comes with those accounts. Have you checked out if you had wares, if you want to build, to open an account and start putting the money there, deposit towards something, so that when the construction starts, you're good to go. But you see, you cannot engage when you've not thought about it. And you cannot think about it when you've not drawn a plan on how you're going to deliver on it. Or else you keep daydreaming. You keep speaking about it, you keep engaging about it, but there will be no result to show for the plans that you have, for the goal that you have, and for the dream that you have. And you know what? Your purse will keep lean because you'll keep spending on rent until you reach 80, until the Lord calls you. And you see, the Lord didn't call you to just pass through life, just live normally and die. No. He gave you great exploits that you're meant to do. He gave you great causes that you're meant to address. He gave you people that you're meant to intersect with and support. Now you can imagine if you're struggling to support yourself, how are you going to support the people that the Lord has put in your hands to support? Those who are even less privileged, those who are even in refugee camps, those who have lost their parents when they are still very young and they cannot earn anything. All these are for you to support. But if you're struggling, how are you going to support or address such causes? I want you to have a bigger perspective, to have a greater mind, to have a bigger mind, to have a bigger vision of what it is that the Lord can actually use you to do. So I hope that evokes you enough. I hope that encourages you to go and do something about this. Go, start doing a few things, saving, nurture that discipline, and see how you can actually own your home. And if you have some money, you've been thinking about buying a 50 by 100, now is the time to start thinking 100 by 100. Now is the time to start thinking an acre. And it's only the vision that you have that you can actually stretch yourself to it. If you're thinking 50 by 100, it's what the mind is going to push you to look out for. If you're thinking about an acre in Kampala, it's what your mind is going to push you out for. I have a testimony in that aspect. I'm thinking 100 by 100, but until I landed on one of my friends, and he said, but Jonan, have you thought about what you can do on an acre? Have you explored in your mind what an acre can do? Do you know you can actually grow shrubs and even have cattle on that acre of land? Do you know you can even have some cows to produce milk for supplies in the neighborhood? And that's when my mind opened up. And now my mind was tuned to an acre and above. And you know what? The Lord blesses you according to the vision, the dream that you have. You cannot have the vision or a dream of a 50 by 100 and you think the Lord is going to expose you to the opportunities of an acre. So this should evoke you enough to start thinking with the Lord in mind, but not in your insufficiency. You know, many times we look at things with our insufficiency, not knowing what the Lord can actually use us to do in His magnificence, in His magnitude, in His omnipresence, in His level of provision. For He says in Psalms 24:1 that He owns the earth and everything therein. So what is it that He cannot provide? So let's stretch our minds, let's stretch our thoughts, let's stretch our visions and dreams, let's stretch our goals to think beyond ourselves. Let's think beyond our stomachs, let's think beyond our families, our nuclear families, let's think beyond and see what the Lord can actually use us to do. So with that, I thank you for tuning in. I wish you the very best. I speak a blessing over you, a blessing over your works of your hands, blessings over your businesses, blessings over your families, and let's meet at the top. And as I've already said, if you watch through, if you listen, and you don't implement, you'll have wasted your data and your time, and also you'll have wasted my time as well. So go pick 1, 2 items, implement, testify, support someone out there. I'll be glad that I have not wasted my time here. I have not wasted my data here to come and speak to you of what the Lord has put on my heart. With all that, I wish you a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and the rest of the Friday. Blessings. See you next week, Friday from 5:30. Blessings. Cheers.